Now when you get to the end of a breath and you think you're ready to breathe in, try to breathe out a little more, so that if you imagined your breath as a stream of cigarette smoke coming out of your mouth and moving straight away from your face, going directly away from your face, that you're pushing the smoke a little bit further out, like it would reach another 2 or 3 or 4 inches away from your face. So imagine your breath like cigarette smoke, and when you breathe out, when it feels like you're at the end of a breath, try to breathe out a little bit more and see the breath as leaving, going a little bit farther away from your face. Straight out, perpendicular to your face. It's almost like your arm and you're trying to touch something that's a little bit further away. Now as you breathe, try to be aware of your heartbeat. Try to connect with your heartbeat. As you breathe in and out, try to feel your heart beating in your chest. Now try to compare the number of heartbeats on the out-breath to the number of heartbeats on the in-breath, and see if they take about the same number of heartbeats. Some people feel like a half a heartbeat, and you can count it on that, or you can count it as a whole heartbeat, whatever's more comfortable for you, but try to compare the number of heartbeats on an out-breath to the number of heartbeats on an in-breath. Don't try to force your breath, just watch it. You're just watching it. You're not trying to manipulate it. You're not trying to force anything. Just your natural breathing. If you're a person who gets lung, which means if you meditate a lot, you get anxiety or a strange feeling in your chest, or a little bit nervous, your hands shaking, or trouble sleeping, or a little bit irritable, it's because of a collection of wind in your body, inner wind, which is not the same as your breath. So your breath is not your inner wind. Inner wind is something more subtle that's running in different places of your body. It's not running in your lungs and your breath, but they are deeply connected. When you get nervous, for example, or when you get scared, it affects your inner winds, and then the inner winds affect your breathing, and you start to breathe faster and your heart beats faster. And the idea of meditation, you can reverse the process. You can work on your breath, work on your heartbeat. That will affect your inner winds, and then that will affect your mind. And that's why the mind becomes more calm when you do a good breathing practice. So if you have a problem with wind, you might try to see if the breath is coming in faster than going out, and not enough breath is going out. So if you're a person who has problem with a wind problem, it might be that the wind is collecting in your body because of the effect of the breath coming in a lot and quickly, and then when you breathe out, it's not enough. You're only breathing out about half the air in your lungs and half is still left. So if you have a problem like that, you might try breathing out farther. And a good way to do that is to visualize like cigarette smoke coming out of your nose and then extending away from your face, and get it to go farther and farther away. And then when you breathe in more slowly, so that you don't breathe in more or faster than you breathe out. And a way to check it is to watch your heartbeat. How many heartbeats on the in-breath, how many heartbeats on the out-breath. And try to get to a point where they're equal. Now go back and visualize the holy being sitting in front of you. Ask them to come up to the top of your head. And feel them sitting there and feel the warmth from their body. You have a chakra at the top of your head, and visualizing the warmth, imagining the warmth is very good for that. Then prepare a place in your heart for them. And in your heart doesn't mean in your chest, at the front of your chest. It means at the level of your heart, back towards your backbone, maybe half an inch in front of your backbone. Visualize it like a pea, like a small pea. And then inside that pea is a whole beautiful chamber, boudoir for them to be in, and nice flower, huge flower bed made of a beautiful flower, like I think a rose is easier to meditate for me. And then in the center of that, a beautiful cushion made of light, like golden light. And that golden light diffused throughout the chamber. And then invite them into that room, and they come down straight. For this, your back has to be straight, your neck has to be straight. And imagine them coming down like an elevator shaft, very slowly, and like warm honey, golden warm honey. And imagine the warmth as it comes down very slowly. And finally place them on the flower. Then feel the light from that room, the gold light, and the gold light from their body is coming down. It's spreading throughout your body like rays of light coming throughout your body, slowly seeping throughout your body like honey, like warm honey. And then see it hit the skin, and it comes out the pores of your body. It's beautiful light. And it's touching people that you know and making them very, very contented, very happy. Today, Sunday, very, very contented with their life, peaceful, happy. Freed from the curse of not being satisfied with things. Okay, then relax and stretch, okay? No. Are those books here? Where'd they go? Oh, okay. No. When we take a break, which will be shortly, okay, I'd like you to pick up one of those books. Okay, it's called Preparing for Tantra. It's a translation of Pabon Rinpoche's introduction to this book that he gave just before a tantric initiation in Lhasa in, I forget when, it was 1920 something, I think. And again, they're free. If you'd like to throw $10 like yesterday into a bag, which Fran Perella will have, we're going to donate that to Trijang Rinpoche, who's His Holiness's tutor, and my Root Lama's Root Lama, and to print a very, very rare Lamrim text from the Kadampa times, okay? Probably the greatest Kadampa book ever written. And recently we found it. Okay, so, because you're going to need it for the second half, okay? If you don't have any mullah, feel free to take one and don't worry about it at all. Just take one, okay? All right. She asked me if that text is going to be printed in Tibetan or English. Tibetan first. It's 1,000 pages long, and I dearly hope that one of my dear students will translate it. Okay, you know. Okay, it's a very, very important book. Really important book. Okay. The English letters here are SH hyphen NE HLAK TONG SUNG DU DREL WAY LAM. Say Shine, Lakdong, Sungdu, Dewe, Lam. Okay. This comes much later in the text, okay? But this is where we're going to take off from here. You know what Shine means? It means some big property in Big Sur. No. No. Shamatha, okay? They misspell it in English, okay? They put a THA. It doesn't need a THA. It's aspirated. We aspirate all our T's. You don't need to put shamatha. Okay? It's a mistake. All right? The Sanskrit has a aspirated, which in English is a plain old T. All right? Laktong means vipassana. VIPA SHYANA. Vipassana means special insight. Hak means special, tong means insight into the nature of reality, into emptiness, okay? The Pali is vipassana, and for some reason, I don't know why, it's gotten connected with meditation, okay? It has nothing to do with shamatha. It's not shamatha. It's the ability to analyze emptiness, to understand emptiness, okay? And then they have to come together, okay? Laktong is that, shamatha is that beautiful white elephant with the guy sitting on it, and he's like this because his mind is blissful, and he's flying next to the thing because his body is blissful, and that's shamatha. And then up above that it said, go look for correct view, you know? That's vipassana, understanding reality, okay? And the point is that you want them to be Sungdu Dawa, okay? Sungdu Dawa. Sungdu Dawa means married to each other, okay? Sungdu Dawa means when two things are totally tied together and binded together, okay? For example, the tantric word for enlightenment is union, meaning sungdu jukpa, same word sung, meaning the combination of two things, okay? The combination of two things. They don't call it Buddhahood in Tantra, they call it Sungdu Jukpa, which means the joining or the marriage of two things, which is Wazel and Gyulu, clear light and magic miracle body, okay? And what all those mean, you have to learn from somebody else, okay? Dewe Lam means that path, okay? That path where shamatha, meaning perfect meditation, and vipassana, meaning understanding of emptiness, are married together, okay? That path where these two are married together. From the perfect platform of concentration, you are investigating ultimate reality. And that's Sundar Lam means those two emotions are tied together. Then the text says, Nyudugulakewa Jingilop means, may I get them quickly in my mind, okay? May I quickly have this path occur in my mind, okay? The point of doing a class about meditation is to learn to meditate on something important. The most important thing to do with your meditation is see emptiness directly. The way to get to see emptiness directly is to practice the Lam Rim properly. So it'd be a really good trick if we could have a text where we could go through the Lam Rim, step by step, rim by rim, and use emptiness with it, you know, on every step, to connect each step with emptiness. So that would like to be the ultimate meditation, okay? To go through the Lam Rim every day, in your mind, to go through each of the necessary steps to get to Buddhahood, and at each step stop and investigate its emptiness, okay? So I'm going to teach you how to do that, in the next class and a half. And then it's not very hard. And then I'll show you with a few of the steps, then you'll have the book and you can apply it to the other steps. You'll learn how to apply it to the other steps, okay? Again, Lamgi Rimba means necessary steps that you must take to see emptiness directly and achieve nirvana and enlightenment as a result of that, okay? So this is Lamki Rimba. The Lam Rims, okay? Each one is called a Lam Rim. Maybe some people don't realize that. Each of those steps is itself called a Lam Rim, okay? So those Lam Rims, they're very similar to a car engine. Very, very similar. Like when I first went to serve my Lama, we were both completely broke. And we had this old car that Art Engel gave us that was 200,000 miles on it, this Volkswagen. And it would break down all the time. So I bought this book called Complete Idiot's Guide to Fixing a Volkswagen. I'd never touched a car in my life. And I would take it apart and put it back together, and it would work, you know. And one day I was taking it apart and I put it back together, and then there were like 5 bolts left there, you know. And, and I was thinking, you know, and then you realize that as long as there's 1 or 2 bolts left out, it's either not going to work or it's going to be dangerous. Something's going to fall off. And you know, if you took all the parts to a car engine, there are certain absolutely necessary parts. Like one day I put it back without one of the spark plugs in, and it actually still runs, but it's like you know, and like that. So Lamgi Rimbas, Lam Rims are exactly the same. Okay, don't think that it's not possible that in the spiritual realm things work the same as in the physical realm. Meaning, don't think that you can leave out some of the Lam Rims and that engine's going to work to get you to enlightenment. It's very, very much the same. If you skip a few of the Lam Rims, you never meditate on the Lam Rims, you never master all the Lam Rims, you leave out 2 or 3 of them because you don't have time or something, it actually doesn't work. Okay? The engine won't work. You know, and the ironic thing is that after I put the car back together, everything looked fine. You know, it looked like a complete engine. And it was only the evidence of the 5 bolts on the ground. I can see them in my mind now. They were in the hubcap. You always keep them in the hubcap, you know. And I can see them there. And it was only the 5 bolts laying there that, if I looked at the engine, it looked like it was okay. But you know it's not okay. Okay. So what I mean to say is that there can be spiritual paths. There can be attempted paths that have left out some of the Lam Rims. And they can look good from the outside. You know, they look pretty good. You say, you know, this path is okay. It's real similar to the Lam Rim, you know. It's a lot like the Lam Rim. And that's not good enough, you know. It won't run. Okay, and I don't say you have to believe me now, and I don't say you're going to run out and study Lam Rim, but I assert that it's possible that spiritual paths are just like car engines. And if certain essential components, like renunciation, or like the view of shunyata, the view of emptiness, are missing, then that path cannot take you to your ultimate goals. And there are paths in this world, in our culture, in our civilization. The karma stuff seems great. The compassion stuff seems good. The service of others seems to be complete. Renunciation seems to be there. Donglen, giving up your whole body for the sins of others, seems to be correct. But the correct view thing is just missing, you know. The thing about emptiness is just not there. And then you can say that's a nice path, that's an interesting path, that seems to be a helpful path, it leads people on further, but if that one component is missing, it won't work any more than an engine with pistons missing. You know what I mean? I assert that that could be the case. I actually believe it to be check it out, okay? You know what I mean? I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying, consider the possibility that this is true, that you must have all these Lam Rims, at least the major ones, have to be there, or you cannot reach that goal. Buddhism says if you do not see emptiness directly, you cannot reach your goal. And it also says that if you don't meditate deeply, if you don't have that ability to meditate deeply, you cannot reach that goal. You cannot see emptiness, okay, directly. Okay, so So consider that, all right? And then this book is complete in the Lamkirimbas. If you study this book, if you meditate on this book, all of them, all the essential parts of that car engine are there, okay? Now the sexy part is, you know, those of you who've been studying for a long time, it's boring to meditate on Lam Rim. You did it all over, you did it lots of times before, you dried it up, you know what I mean? Like you did a Lam Rim retreat, you went to 14 Lam Rim lectures by 14 visiting lamas, but they never know what you've had and what you haven't had, so they always go for the Lam Rim. Because they figure they'll cover everybody in the audience, you see? So you're like the older Dharma students I meet, they're like, yeah, I heard Lam Rim before. Could you teach, you know, like something else? I'll teach you a different way to do the Lam Rim, which is very sexy. You can go back to the Lam Rim and it's very exciting, okay? And this is to incorporate emptiness at every step of the Lam Rim, okay? To do a jogom, a fixed meditation on the emptiness of each of the steps of the Lam Rim. And it's a way of tricking you into going back to the Lam Rim and going through it carefully, okay? But because you'll be meditating on its emptiness, for you it'll be much more fresh and interesting, and that's fine. Okay, that's a good way. We're going to start with the next verse, which you'll be able to see when you get your book, is, how's that go? Lanchik nyepe dawe tensang ni, shindu nyega dunchen shegune. Lanchik nyepe dawe tensang ni means you only get one chance in your life. Lanchik nyepe dawe tensang means all the conditions you need are here. Everything you need, you have, okay? All the conditions you need. So if you were doing a Lam Rim meditation at this point, you would do, what kind of meditation do you guess? Shargom, Chegom, or Jogom? Remember, Shargom is reviewing a list of Lamgirimbas, for example. Chegom would be, is it really true I'm going to die? Is it really true I don't know when I'm going to die? Is it really true I should start working now? Let's punch it out. And then Jogom would be, meditate on the emptiness of this thing or something and fix your mind on that. So if you're going to do a normal Lam Rim meditation, which one do you think it would be? Yeah, Shargom, okay? I mean, you would go through the Lamgirimbas and say, oh, first I have to find a teacher. Secondly, I have to think about my spiritual opportunities. Third, I have to think about my death. You know, and you'd go through these Lamgirimbas. What I'm suggesting is, this is really cool, okay? Do a Shargom up to one of the Lamgirimbas and then investigate its emptiness, okay? And then you will have a very deep understanding of the Lam Rim, which will save your life. And then you'll eventually see emptiness directly, which is the method to save your life, okay? So you get both benefits at once, okay? We're talking about the emptiness of the Lam Rim, okay? So I'm going to go through one example. I'll go through this morning. We'll start with the 8 opportunities that you have. They're called the 8 spiritual opportunities that you have. Delwa in Tibetan is an old word for going slow. Okay, people have translated it as leisure, and that's not bad. That's not a bad translation. I mean, Dawa means some kind of spiritual opportunities that you have, spiritual leisures. And at some point, this will come up in your meditation. You meditate on it, and then at each point you stop and think about the emptiness of that particular opportunity, that particular spiritual opportunity. And I'll show you how to do a few, and you can apply it to all the other ones, okay? The first of the 8. Actually, let me give you the general name of something. The English letters here are M-I, K-O-M, G-Y-E. So when we discuss the 8 fantastic windows of opportunity that you have, and you're supposed to meditate about them and get excited about them, okay? You're supposed to appreciate them at this point in the Lamrim. When you're doing a Lamrim meditation, you're supposed to say, hey, you know, I got everything I need to practice. I just have to overcome my lelo, okay? Okay? My hesitation or my mental block or my laziness about it, okay? But, you know, when I think about it, I have everything I need to practice Buddhism. I'm one of the very few people in the world who has all the opportunities they need. If I could just overcome my, you know, resistance or laziness to it, I would be in Fat City, okay? So when you talk about the 8 windows of opportunity, the 8 kinds of opportunity you have, we speak of them in terms of the opposite of mikom ge. So say mikom, ge, mikom, ge. Kom means to have time to do something, or to have the opportunity to do something. They say, ge and sinila peya komgurube. I called this Geshe last night. I said, you got time to meet me in Sydney for a couple of days, okay? Komgurube. And he said, komguru means, yeah, I have time, okay? And so mikom means not to have time. And mikom ge means 8 ways of not having a chance or not having an opportunity. You have the opposite of each of these 8, and that's what leisure means, or spiritual fortune, or spiritual, okay, opportunity. So this list is going to be good or bad? Mikom ge. Bad, okay? And you have the opposite, okay? So think of it in that term. It's like when they say, practice the 10 non-virtues. What they mean is, try to do the opposite of those: killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, slander, harsh words, idle gossip, craving, wrong view. Ill will, wrong view. Okay, here we go. These, by the way, are taken from Suleka, which is Nagarjuna's letter to his friend, meaning a king, Udayibhadra, that he wrote a letter to. These are the epistles of Nagarjuna. They're very similar to Paul's. They're very beautiful. Okay. The English letters here are L-O-K-T-A. Say Lokta. Lokta. Lokta means stupid worldviews. Okay? Stupid worldviews. You're actually swimming in a country of stupid worldviews, okay? And you're actually just on the very edge of this. I mean, you have this spiritual opportunity, but just barely. Just hanging by a thread, okay? What are stupid worldviews? I'll tell you one of the hardest ones, okay? You are about to be accused of something at work. You did do it, okay? If you admit to it, you will lose your Christmas bonus, okay? Or you'll have to work 5 more hours on Saturday to make up for it, or something like that. There's no way the supervisor or the boss can confirm that you did it or not unless you admit it, and you know that. So if you just simply imply that you didn't do it, or baldly state that you didn't do it, you won't have to suffer these consequences. So you lie, okay? That's an ultimate stupid view, okay? As we pointed out with the example of the rape victim like that, the lie is only going to cause you some suffering later. It's a principle of all karma and all Christian and Jewish also presentations of morality that you cannot get a good result from a bad action. Impossible. You know, there's no religion that I'm aware of that says, well, in general, that says you can get something good by doing something bad. I mean, that's a principle of all, that's a karmic principle, pure and simple. Lying cannot create the good result of you not having to come in on Saturday, okay? Impossible, okay? You have to get used to that. It's a lie, it's an illusion that by lying, you don't have to come in on Saturday. The reason you didn't have to come in on Saturday, and the reason he believed you, is that you did not lie in the past. And this current lie that seems to be causing your Christmas bonus to stay with you has no connection with the Christmas bonus at all. And that's a lokta. I mean, that's the ultimate one. Okay? And it's very difficult for human beings to practice that. If everybody did that, the world would be perfect. You know, when I took religion in university, they were like, the test of religion is what would happen if everybody did it? You know, what would happen if everybody had this worldview? I mean, no one would lie to anybody. It'd be incredible, you know. This is an illusion that you can get something good by lying. Do you get something good after you lie? Yes. Does that mean the lie caused something good? No. Prove it. Well, every time I lie, it doesn't work. Sometimes I lie and it doesn't work. Aha! That's evidence that it doesn't cause it, okay? It's not scientific to lie. You know, if you can't make it happen every time by lying, then lying is not what caused you to get your Christmas bonus. And it's so obvious. And the whole culture we live in is saying the opposite. The whole culture is saying, white lies, you know, don't worry. You know, you have to go to Dharma class on Saturday. Tell them a white lie. That's not what causes the Dharma class, okay? And it looks like that. And that's a lokta. That's the ultimate lokta, okay? Another lokta would be Budweiser commercial. One life to live, you know? Live it up, man. Drink as much as you can. There's, you know, you only have one life. You might as well make the best of it, you know? And that viewpoint is lokta, okay? Another lokta is a very common lokta. If I do a bad deed in the privacy of my own room, if no one finds out that I've done a bad deed, I won't have any karmic result from that, you know? I can get away with it, you know? If the money is laying there on the table, if nobody knows I was in this house, if no one will ever find out I was in this house, and I can take the money and no one will ever know, it's a lokta to think that, you know? Karma is collected how? How is the karma of taking the money off the table collected? When you perceive yourself reach out and touch that money and pocket it, a karma is placed in your mind stream. By whom? By you. What puts a karma into your mind stream? When you perceive yourself doing it. You know, that's why bad thoughts are bad karma, because only one person has to hear it, and that's you. Okay, it's very interesting. You're collecting karma the minute you see yourself doing something. You see what I mean? So you can't get away from it. It's indelibly recorded by this camera, security camera that's running all the time, called your consciousness, you know? And the minute you see yourself doing something, the karma is collected and stored. Beautifully stored, okay? If you do your 4 powers, you can short circuit it. We'll talk about it in the afternoon. We have to talk about it in the afternoon, okay? So anyway, those are all loktas. We swim in the world of that lokta, okay? We live in a country. We were born in a country. We were born in a country that said there's a big guy in the sky with the long white hair and this long beard, and he's watching you, you know? And he made you, and he made this world. And he loves you more than anybody. And you're going to die, and the people around you are going to get cancer, and you're going to live a whole life of disappointment. Every time you get something, you're going to lose it. Anytime you get some happiness, you're going to lose it. And this guy is running the show. And he's doing that on purpose to you, and he loves you, you know. And he made you like that. And he could have made you any way he wanted, but he made you like that. When you try to explain this view to a Tibetan, you know, in Dharamsala, and I'm not criticizing, I'm not saying that beliefs similar to that have helped millions and millions of people. They've created Mother Teresa's and things like that. I'm not saying that. But ultimately, that part of the view is very harmful to people. And you grew up in that. You're swimming in that, you know. You still believe that to a great extent. It's very hard to stop that because you grew up in that viewpoint. You know, you still believe, when an airplane is going down, I'm like, these words come to mind, you know, oh, God help me, you know, because you grew up with that, and that's a lokta. It cannot help you. It cannot help you. You know, you have to find a... Am I saying there are not spiritually enlightened beings hovering around you, helping you, guiding you, leading you? I'm not saying that. They are all around you. They are dying to help you. They're hovering around you at this moment. They are dying to lead you and help you. I'm not saying there are not beings like that. I don't mean to criticize that part. I mean to criticize the belief that somebody else will take care of your karma. Somebody else will take care of you aside from your own good deeds. There is no such thing. That's a lokta, and that's a very, very harmful. It prevents people from really getting into what they have to do to get enlightened. Buddha comes to this world, does only one thing, teaches other people how to do it, okay? That's all he can do. If he could take away the slightest pain that you ever had, he would have. The converse of that logically is, if you ever had a headache, if you ever had a toothache, if you ever had a backache, if you ever lost some loved one, then Buddha cannot take that away from you, okay? And nobody else can either. Or else there's some kind of sadistic or something. You see what I mean? Yeah.
I got a teaching once that the karma of stealing only was completed if someone would recognize it. So
she said she got a teaching once that the karma of stealing is only completed if someone recognizes it. Not true. The only person who has to recognize it is you. If you think you're not stealing, okay, like if you take a purse and then you get home with it and you find out it just looked like yours. We got this call from Kennedy Airport one night when Kim Rinpoche came back. They said, you have the captain's suitcase. And I said, how do you know? And they said, because yours is here and it looks just like the captain's and there's only one bag left here. And I look at Ken Rinpoche and he said, I was wondering why mine came off first, And, so did we steal the captain's suitcase, There's a recognition thing. It's called, you have to cognize the object correctly. So we did collect a tiny bit of bad karma just from the completion of the stealing, even without knowing it. There is some tiny bad karma collected because we do have some subconscious recognition of it. But if you don't fully recognize what you're doing, the bad karma is very, very little. That's true. Okay? Like you don't get the bad karma of stealing the captain's suitcase if you don't cognize it as the captain's suitcase. Okay? That's mostly true. Okay? So those are loktas, and they're very, very subtle, and you grew up with them, and they're part of your, they called it in religion, I was in the religion department, visceral presuppositions, meaning these are in your guts, In your guts you believe a lot of these viewpoints, and very hard to overcome. But mostly you have the opportunity to hear the opposite, okay? So mostly you're free of this, okay? What's the emptiness of that? Now, okay? Here we got spice up our Lam Rim meditation, okay? All us old-timers can go back to Lam Rim meditation because we spice it up with, okay, let's investigate the emptiness of that, What is the emptiness? What is the karma of being born in a country that's materially beautiful, physically incredible, America, great opportunities of education, great teachers, great system of democracy, unparalleled in history, really. And those viewpoints are fantastic. That's like very close to Shantideva's exchanging self and others, really, when you think about it. That all men are created equal and each one has an opportunity and a vote, in theory, okay? That's great. But what is it that made you to be born in a country where they honestly believed that there was some guy that could take care of your karma and you don't have to worry about it? Huh? Yeah, I mean, karmically, it's from teaching that to other people in your past life. Okay, it's like it comes from propagating, spreading, supporting, encouraging people to have wrong view in your past life. Okay, and then you have to be born in a country which, despite all its great opportunities, has this one fatal flaw. By the way, every country in samsara has some fatal flaw, okay? Don't feel bad, all right? I mean, less here than almost anywhere. Okay, every place in samsara has flaws. That's why it's samsara. But the reason you were born there was this karma, okay? Mm.
Could you please ask a quick question? All
Yeah.
these like visceral presuppositions.
Yeah.
Are those part of the intellectually acquired beliefs in true existence that get wiped out when you directly see emptiness?
She said, Kendall said, these visceral presuppositions, like your gut feeling that there's a guy who made the world. It's so beautiful, somebody must have made it. You know what I mean? That gut feeling that you have that somebody must have made it. Is that a form of the kind of misperception of the world that you have, which is intellectual? You know, if I say to you, you know, did you create this paper? And you say, no, I mean, that was made in a factory over in Attleboro, Massachusetts or something. You know what I mean? And you say, no, this paper is the creation of your perceptions. You see what I mean? This is not a piece of paper. Come on. This is a white rectangle with squiggles on it. Okay? Is it a white rectangle with squiggles on it? Yeah. Why do you see it as paper and not something to chew on? Like if a dog came here or a kid, like Kieran took care of a photo I had. You know? You know, why perceive it like that? What's the difference? Your karma is forcing you to see it as a piece of paper, okay? All I'm holding is a white rectangle with some black on it, okay? Your karma is forcing you to see paper, and your karma is forcing you to interpret this as letters, okay? This poor innocent thing is only a white rectangle, okay? The only thing I'm holding up is a white rectangle. The only thing between you and me, the only thing between you and this white rectangle is your eyeballs. Your eyeballs can't think. Your eyeballs can't say that's a piece of paper. Your eyeballs only record shapes and colors. They are limited to shapes and colors, okay? Your eye faculty, your visual ability can only inform the brain, hey, hello, we got a white rectangle down here, and it's got some black scribbles on it, you know. It's not even scribbles, it's got some black angles on it, okay? Well, what do you think we got here, you know? And then the brain is figuring out, no, really, that's all. If you think about it, there's nothing between you and me except your eyes, okay? And then your brain is interpreting it. If you are Kieran, your mouth is watering, okay? You know, hey, man, that looks good to chew on, pretty soft, you know. And if you're an adult in this class, then you're seeing a paper with some notes on it, okay? Which one is it really? It's both, depending on who's looking at it, right? Is one more valid than another? Is Kieran got less human rights than we do? You know? No, it's valid, okay? It's reasonable for him, given his milieu, you know, given his mind, to see it that way. And it's reasonable, that's the meaning of prominent, by the way, reasonable, tsema. And it's reasonable for us in our current condition to see it in another way, as paper. And get this, okay, very subtle, it's going to come up later today. He is living in a baby's realm. And that realm is only, is only the collection of his perceptions. You see what I mean? There is no other baby realm. He is having a big bunch of experiences, and that's the baby's realm, okay? And we're having a bunch of perceptions, and that's our realm. And those two realms are coexisting at the same time. They are in the same space at the same time. Two contradictory realms are existing in the same space at once. This paper is being two things at once. Because what allows it to be two things at once? It's emptiness, okay? That is its emptiness, okay? That is its emptiness. All it is a white rectangle. It is empty of any nature of being paper from its own side, and it is empty of any nature of being a chewable thing from its own side. That's all. What is its self-existence that it doesn't have, won't have, never did have, and couldn't have? To be paper from its own side. Oh, sorry, chewable from its own side. You see what I mean? It's not that from its own side. Prove it. Kieran doesn't conceptualize it as paper, if it were paper from its own side, he would perceive it that way also. And so would every raccoon in Vajrapani, you know. You know what I mean? Every living creature would perceive it the same way. That proves it's not self-existent. That proves it doesn't have an identity which comes from its own side. That must be coming from somewhere else. Where? Your mind. Oh, cool. I will then choose to perceive this as a sugar-free white chocolate bar. You know what I mean? Which even the food police will let me eat. You know, I will choose to perceive it that way. Does that work? No. Your perceptions are projections, but they are forced on you by your past karma. You don't have no choice in the matter. You know, bring me this big meditator who can will away his pain, you know, and give me a dental drill and let me have him. You know, I've never had anyone come in 15 years, you know. It doesn't work. That's like saying I'm going to think of this as a chocolate bar. You know, it doesn't work like that. You are forced to have those perceptions by your karma. If you want to see it as a chocolate bar, which you could have seen it as a chocolate bar, what do you have to do? Give away chocolate bars. Okay? And I'm not kidding. Okay? All chocolate bars in your world were created by giving away something tasty to somebody. Okay? Then compassion and giving become, you know, brilliant Einstein actions, you know. Okay, tell me a question. Yeah.
So, is it true that stupid worldviews are empty because of our own karma, and they're only stupid worldviews because of where we're perceiving them from?
Yeah, so he said now apply it to stupid worldviews. Okay, and there are certain views being held in this country. You know, General Motors is teaching you. General Motors, I was in a corporation. Corporate theory is that we have to compete with other corporations. We have to keep ahead of them. We have to outfox them. We have to try to steal what they know, and we did. You know, and we have to keep competing with them, and that's how you stay ahead. And that's a wrong worldview, okay? What's the emptiness of that wrong world? And that's what you have to meditate on, okay? That's what you're going to, this is a tough one, okay? The emptiness of that worldview is that people in this country, in the United States of America, will continue to view the world. You know, good or bad, they will continue to have some worldview, right? I mean, bugs have a worldview, in a way. I mean, good or bad, people in the United States of America will continue to think of their world in a certain way, okay? That worldview is empty because if we could wear out our old karma of believing in these silly worldviews, oh, there's some guy with a big beard, he's like 5 miles up, can't quite see him, he's taking care of everybody, don't worry about anything. If we could stop wear out the old bad karma, then people would start having the correct worldview. Oh, I want to go to heaven, I have to keep my morality. I have to keep my book. Why? Because this area is empty. If I had different karma forcing me to see different things, he'd be holding a sugar-free white chocolate candy bar instead of that paper, and we'd have a break probably. Okay, like that. All right. Okay, and what I mean to say is worldview will change. Okay, because there will be a view of the world. The old karma of a wrong worldview will change, wear out. Collect the new good karma of encouraging everyone you know, come on, take responsibility for your life. You have to keep your book. Nobody else can collect good karma for you. That's against all Buddhism. You have to not kill things. You have to not steal things. You have to not commit adultery. You know, you have to be good to other people, and then you will go to Buddha paradise. So you encourage other people to have this viewpoint. What will happen in the United States? In your version of the United States? You'll be forced to see this country become a big hotbed of correct view. You know, you'll be forced to see more and more people suddenly saying, oh, hey, maybe I should just do it myself, you know, maybe I should keep my morality, maybe things are empty. You mean, if you keep teaching it to people, and you keep encouraging people to do that, your version of the United States will start to change. And you will see more and more people going to Buddhist classes, and you'll see more and more people having correct view, and you'll see more and more harmony and compassion in your world. And then by the time you die, if you die, and you don't have to die, they're offering vegetarian